Film is a disease, Frank Capra said. When it infects your bloodstream, it takes over as the number one hormone. It plays Iago to your psyche. As with heroin, the antidote to film is more film.
Hello and welcome to my Celluloid Heart podcast. This is where I take two films and I bring them together with one topic or theme with trivia to go with it. And warning, 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 there will be spoilers in this episode. Today's episode is the Fantastical, Legend from 1985 and Willow from 1988. Very, very cool. And there is nothing that I missed from the last episode, anything that needed to be corrected that I could not find or think of. But if there is anything that I missed on this episode, or you want to send me any recommendations of some movies you want me to talk about, or you have some criticism, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. You can send those emails to mycelluloidheart@gmail.com. That will work. And the newest movies that I've watched at home or in the theater are, I went through a lot on the show today, that pre-recorded show that I did with Jason from Popcorn Promises. I really appreciated doing that with him. Before I get into what I've seen, there's only two added to all the others that I named. Jason and me became fast friends. He's here in Phoenix. He does a podcast about movies. I do a podcast about movies. We just became boom, awesome, thick as thieves. Been doing some episodes together. I go to his house, do the shows. And so I went over there on this show and I said, hey, awesome, let's do this recording thing. And we sit down to record the podcast. And he says, yeah, so we're going to be moving to Washington State. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're moving to Washington State. My wife got a job, better job. And he said, so we're going to be going there. I'm going to be going to school and doing video editing and all that good stuff over there. And I said, awesome, but bad because you're my podcast buddy. When I'm in a pinch and you're usually available, I can just go, hey, Jason, I'll come right over. And Jason said, but look, you do a podcast sometimes with a guy from Michigan on Google Hangouts, and sometimes you do a podcast with your cousin who's in Florida on Google Hangouts. Sometimes, once, you did a podcast with a guy named Josh from Germany. So, on Google Hangouts, Google Duo, actually, and everything worked. And Matt from Utah. So, I can do it with you from Washington. No big deal. I said, I understand, but there's something special about us. And he said, you're smoking something. And I said, yeah, maybe you're right. So, anyway, so that's a little sad thing, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll deal with it. I'll find another podcast buddy around here. I'll go look for somebody. It'll be all right. And so congratulations to his wife and good luck with everything. They're moving right at the end of December, so it's like, oof. But we will be doing an episode before the end of December. Well, at least we're recording it before the end of December. The Raiders of the Lost Ark episode that we promised. Both of us love Raiders of the Lost Ark, so it should be a super-duper special episode. Now that I put all that pressure on us, it better be good. And, because the movie's okay. I don't much care for it, but he wants to do it, so I said, okay. No, I'm kidding. Fucking one of the best movies ever. Speaking of good movies, although who knows, you see a trailer, it looks good. New trailer for Bond, the new Bond film came out. It's called No Time to Die. Came out today. The trailer looks very awesome. But now what Popcorn Promise is about is it going to be good? Does it hold up to what it says it's going to be? And I think it is. They usually do. I know that they're kind of cheesy and sometimes silly, but I love the James Bond movies, love the franchise. I've seen them all several times. I usually watch them all the way through from beginning, from Dr. No all the way through to the recent one before I go and see the newest one. And then when the next one comes out, I do the same thing again, go all the way through it. And there are times when I go, oh, I got to really push through. Like there's some, Moonraker's still okay. There's some others that are a little tough that you got to push through that I can't think of any now because I like them all. But one of the best is Goldfinger. Thunderball's great. Got some cool underwater stuff. And granted, those are dated, but they're so fucking good. For Your Eyes Only is one of the best. Spy Who Loved Me is the second best. So good. So many are good. And I even like the Timothy Dalton ones. And what's great about this new trailer is they have the Aston Martin in it from, it's not the exact one from Living Daylights, but it's that model of Aston Martin, and it's in this new movie. And I'm like, yes, they fucking got it. So it's all those little things that they put in. And the DB5 that's in this one, that's been in the others that Daniel Craig has done. And they never, because it's through the history of James Bond, there was never a moment where they said, here's your DB5, James Bond. He just had it in the garage. So it was very cool. But anyway, I'm super excited. Trailer looked very awesome. I'm definitely going to do some Bond films on here. I just got to figure out which ones, where to start. I don't know. So very difficult. And if anybody else likes Bond and wants to do the podcast with me. So we'll figure that out. Me and my cousin are trying to figure out what to do next. He's going to be busy this month. So we are unable to do, we're going to do maybe a Christmas episode of Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, or just anything, some Disney Plus stuff or whatever. Couldn't figure it out. So now I got to figure out what to do next, which I got some ideas. So you don't worry about me. I know you're all like, I'm not fucking worried. But anyway, let's get to what I have been watching recently. So Joe Merle, there, I mentioned his name, everybody take a drink. Joe Merle from Those Movie Guys podcast says, hey, you should see a movie called One Cut of the Dead. It's on Shudder. I said, okay. I looked it up, watched a little bit of a trailer. It looked kind of cool and different. Like they're making a movie. It's a zombie movie all in one take. Said, oh, that's really neat. But I didn't see, the trailer didn't show too much. Japanese movie. I know that not many people will watch it. Very good. So I waited. I went ahead and signed up for Shudder again for the $5, $6, because, Joe Merle's recommendations are usually spot on for me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch this. Plus, I'll have Shudder. It's only $6 for a month. I'll watch some horror movies. So that's awesome. That I haven't seen. So this One Cut of the Dead from 2019 it's like the movie Living in Oblivion, that was like the making of a movie, but also behind the scenes of the making of the movie. It was like the movie and the making of the movie. It wasn't really the movie, but anyway, I know it's all confusing. But anyway, this movie, 28 minute long, one cut zombie movie. Then it ends. And I was like, wait a minute. That's not over. No, thought it said an hour and a half. So then I had to hit pause to bring up the time. And I was like, oh my God, yes, it is an hour and a half. So I'm like, okay. Then it goes to stuff like them a month before planning the making of this movie. And you're like, okay, cool. And it just goes in, like, all I have to say is, Jason Bromley, when you said that you think it's Joe Merle wanting us to watch horrible, crappy shit of his, And I said, no, I think it's more of the art of the way it's like a movie-making thing. Oh, my fucking God, were you wrong. This is so fucking good. So cool, so different. Just, it's amazing. I'm definitely going to watch it again. So much fun. It's like funny. It's like a comedy. It's a horror. Not really a horror. It's more comedy, making a movie. Anyway, it's very, very awesome. You'll fucking love it. And then from 1997, my wife and I were on, Disney Plus one day. When I get home in the morning, sometimes if I'm working, if it's on my work days, I go, do we really want to, what do we want? Can we watch something quick? What's something, So I was like, let's watch Home Alone 3 because it's on Disney Plus. She's like, okay. So I put it on. She's in and out of the bedroom. She's making stuff in the kitchen, whatever. And I really liked it more than I thought because I remember seeing a trailer, of course, and being like, that's not my Home Alone. Fuck that. Then all of a sudden I was like, this time though I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, it's kind of cute. This is a good little film. I like it. I get it. So it's fun. It's a fun little movie. Good little fun little Christmas movie. Goes with that. Kids of course will like it. I liked it. Had some funny moments in it. It was just good to see to finish out the story. I mean, there's two others. They made a Home Alone 4 and a Home Alone 5, which is crazy. But will I watch those? Yeah, probably. If I can find them. They're TV movies. And what was interesting about that, Roger Ebert, when he was on with Siskel, told Siskel that Home Alone 3 was better than the first one. Siskel Ebert said, you're fucking kidding me. No, he didn't say that on the TV, but he almost fell out of his chair because it was ridiculous. And I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous. It's not as good as the first one. First one is just great. So anyway, with all that out of the way, that's what I've seen. And let's get into the show with me and Jason Bromley from Popcorn Promises. And so much fun. And talking about Legend and Willow. First of all, hello, Jason. Welcome back. And,
hello. Thank you for having me, Phil.
Jason's got to tell us about his, formerly of Talking Poop, now he's of Popcorn Promises.
Yeah, Talking Poop was my premature podcast.
The premature ejaculated podcast. That
exactly.
Was I thought this was, I'm going to talk about music.
Now I'm all grown up. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten so much more mature. And so I rebranded, and now my podcast is called Popcorn Promises.
Popcorn Promises, Popcorn Promises, Popcorn.
It just sounds sexy. It just rolls off the tongue.
You're the only other one, besides maybe my cousin, that says all grossed up. Like, nobody else. Like, I say that to my wife, and I don't even know if she's seen Swingers, but
really?
She's just like, I'm like, honey, it's the best part. But yeah, does it hold up now? Are they a little male chauvinist and like jerky?
Oh, yeah, totally. But I still love it.
That Ladies Guide to Dude Cinema,
yeah.
They were doing a whole thing on Swingers, and they were just like, these guys are assholes. And then they did one on High Fidelity, and they were like, High Fidelity, I'll say it again because my tongue got all twisted. Like when everybody else says My Celluloid Heart. That's why else I was thinking of changing, which I didn't say. Now I said it. I forgot we already recorded. I was thinking of changing my brand because, like you said, Talking Poop, everybody thought, he's talking poop. I don't want to listen to that. And it's like, no, we're talking shit about movies, but also good shit.
But that's the thing, is that it didn't even make sense for that because we were talking about movies we enjoyed.
Yeah.
So we weren't even talking shit. If we would have been talking shit.
It wasn't like Chopping Mall or Legend or Willow. No, I'm kidding. Right. But I'll get to that when we get to our topic. But anyway, no, so then I started thinking, well, Jason changed. Maybe I should change, and I should do My Celluloid Heart. I can tell that Matt at Why Daddy Drinks, Jason, you guys have a little problem. Like, you stutter over it. Well, it's a tongue twister.
I have a speech impediment, and Matt is a drunk.
Yeah. Well, so. Okay. But it's also funny because I can't say wolves, and you can't say Celluloid Heart.
I've been told I can't say pillow and milk either.
What's the first one?
Pello.
What's Pello?
People say that it's what you sleep on. You sleep
a
on a
pillow.
pillow.
A pillow.
It's a pillow. Whatever.
Pillow with an E. Pillow.
It's just,
you're cute.
I don't know how you say it.
You're cute. Pillow with an I. I say it like a human. I don't. Even Hitler wouldn't say pillow. So then I started thinking, like, maybe nobody cares about two movies put together. You know, nobody cares about whatever. I just started getting down on myself, just like, maybe I should redo this whole show. And then I'm like, no, I've already done that before. And I reached out to some people, and they were like, no, keep it the way you are. You're fine. I was like, okay, good. So now that's what happened to me behind the scenes. Nobody knows that.
So you had a full-blown panic attack and almost just shit-canned your show.
Full-blown, where I'm sitting there going, what should my topics be? Should I do, I can't do news. Let's do something else. Like, what can I do? What will make it more vibrant, more fun? Like, I couldn't figure it out. So.
But your thing is your thing. So, like, you found a thing.
Right.
And you should definitely stick with your thing. Because it works.
And also I found a way to bring in more of my stories to whatever movies. Like, here's a personal story from me about whatever movies I recently talked about.
I was doing that on Talking Poop, but my stories are always, like, super vulgar and disgusting. So I realized I probably shouldn't tell my stories.
Well, my other podcast was called It's Kind of a Funny Podcast, and that was where I would end every show by, like, if you have two garbage bags on your hands and you're cleaning out somebody's shit out of the toilet at the video store that you work at, it's kind of a funny story. And then I would go on to the next day, tell you what happened.
Right.
And so then it was called This Kind of Funny Story. Then I ran out of all those stupid stories. So then I was like, let's call it This Kind of a Funny Podcast. And then I did that. And, my thing was like, it was vulgar to be funny, and that it was a weird thing that happened to me. But then I was like, maybe not. Anyway, if you want to know that story, you can tell me. I'll tell you the story. But here's some movies that I've been watching.
All right.
Unless you want to hear the shit story. I'll tell you at the end of the show. Okay. I saw The Kitchen from 2019. We rented it at Redbox. It was pretty good. Wasn't great, but it was good. My wife's like, I wish it wouldn't have ended the way it ended.
I liked it. I didn't know why everybody that got shot had a headshot that just blew their brains onto the wall. Every single shot.
I think that director was like, it's my dream. I'm finally able to make a 70s movie. Let's do it.
I think so. I thought they just got a discount on head squibs or something, so they just did it like that. But those three ladies were great in that movie.
Yeah. What I loved about Squib Stories is on El Mariachi, how he said they would just had a thing full of like red jam and they just spit it at the guy and throw it onto his forehead. Thought that was great. Anna and the Apocalypse, that musical.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. I want to see it.
It's on Hulu, if you have Hulu.
I do.
Framing John DeLorean.
Well, hang on. What did you think about Anna and the Apocalypse?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Anna and the Apocalypse. It's a musical. It's a zombie horror musical, and it's British, so it's like that dry humor, and it's fun. And it was just these kids who are at school, and all of a sudden, like, shit starts going wrong, and they're like, "What are these? This guy's coming at me. He's trying to attack me." And there's a guy in a snowman suit, and it's just really cool, and the music is good, and it's a different way to look at a zombie movie. So I liked it, and it's a Christmas movie. So you want something for Christmas? You watch it. Framing John DeLorean, which is like a documentary with Alec Baldwin, and then they do like reenactments. So it's part documentary, part reenactments.
But he didn't get framed. He was selling cocaine out of his factory.
No. That's what you think. That's what I thought. And I'm like, oh, all they show, that thing of that, there's a suitcase where they open up the drugs. They're like, here's what, whatever amount of money, this is that much cocaine. This is what it buys you. And he's like, oh, and he's holding it and stuff. And why the FBI did that was so that you can show the jury him holding a bag of cocaine and going, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, all you're thinking is, oh, he's a drug dealer.
Right.
He wanted the drug deal. It was still illegal. But he said, how can I make money? I need money for my company. They said, if you give us $10 million and you support our drug running operation, we can give you like $20 million or whatever. We can double your money or triple it. he was like, okay. So he went there, he gave him the money, he's talking to him, and then they're like, here's what the coke looks like. And he's like, oh, wow. And he's looking at it, and then the FBI comes, and you're under arrest. And he's like, what?
Yeah, but if you take drug money to further the production of your cars, then
Right.
he was not framed.
But my point was, no, I know. But my point was, it's still called framing DeLorean. But my point was that you're not... Hang on, let me be his lawyer. No,
okay.
That it wasn't for drugs. It wasn't what I always thought it was. So I learned stuff from it. It's a really good documentary. You should see it.
All right.
I saw a movie called Stunts from 1977. It's see, I lost you already. I see the glazed donut.
1 year before my birthday. Yeah, probably missed it.
Man, I'm old. Robert Forrester is like a stuntman. His brother gets killed, so then he's hired to run the show of all the stunts, and he's trying to investigate who killed him. Because it was they were like, no, it was an accident, and he starts checking out things, and it's really good because you don't know who it is. Like, you're like, it's one of those whodunit, really
Right.
cool thing, and it was on Turner Classic Movies. Excuse me. Dick Tracy from 1990. You need to do Dick Tracy on your show.
I love Dick Tracy.
I might do it, but my wife bought it on Blu-ray when we were watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit. She's like, I'm going to buy this. I go, great minds think alike. I was just thinking we need this movie. I haven't seen it for a while. That movie is better than I remember. Like,
Yeah.
it was really good. I was like, man, and that's one where you don't know who the guy with no face is.
Right.
He's like that guy from Watchmen where you just got, and you're like, who is it? Who is it? So don't spoil it if you know.
I do know.
Okay. Even though I said at the beginning of my show, spoilers. But then I saw Return to Oz on the Disney Channel.
That's a great movie.
I had never, I don't know if I ever saw this movie or when I was managing a video store in 2000, I was like, oh, I should watch it. And I think I just like had it on. I got bored with it and I didn't. But now I watch it with like 1985 eyes. And I was like, man, it's really good. I really liked it.
Good.
Yeah.
It's totally different than Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like so 80s cool because it's like that dark labyrinth kind of feel to it.
Yeah. And the guys on what are they? The guys on the skates?
The Wheelers.
The Wheelers.
Yeah, those creep me out.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it when I was a little kid and then thought that, like, it was a fever dream that I just made up in my head.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy shit. I didn't realize it had anything to do with Oz.
Yeah.
Like, I just remembered, like, these guys on wheels.
Certain
I remember
images.
the lady with the head coming off and all that stuff. I remembered all the heads in the lockers. That's what I remembered.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what movie was that? And then finally, like, I found it at the video store and was like, dude, I think this is it. And I watched it and it was like all that same stuff.
All the feelers came back.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. So everybody check that out on Disney Plus.
It's cool too because the characters don't look like the Tin Man and the Lion and the Scarecrow. They're all in it, but they look like the original drawings from the from R.L. Baum or
F.L. Barnum, whatever. I got his name written down when we talk about Legend or Willow, but yeah, from his original books or whatever. Yeah, I like that. It was really good. Then my wife wanted to watch The Santa Claus from '94, which is good, still fun. That was good. I don't know how to expand on that, but it was good. It was fun. My wife, when it gets certain times of the year, she'll just buy, like for Christmas, she was like, I'm going to buy Deck the Halls. I'm going to buy, which is like Danny DeVito and Ferris Bueller.
Real bad movie.
And she's like, and then I'm going to get, she found it for cheap. So she's like, it's a Christmas movie. I'm going to get it.
Right.
And then when she watched it, she's like, it was okay. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll watch it. And then she got, what was the other one? The one with Fred Claus. She got that one.
I like Fred Claus, yeah.
And she got Polar Express and the Disney, the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
So she got that one.
Was good.
And I was like, honey, it's on Disney Plus. She goes, no, when you click on it, it's like, will not be available till 2021 or whatever. And it's like, oh, my God. Then I went with my dad and saw Ford versus Ferrari. That was really good. It was really cool. It was one where not a lot of people, I think more people are going to see it now because of all the word of mouth. But it's really cool where it's got your tension, like all the races and just their interaction with each other and the thing of like, wait a minute, you said that we could beat Ferrari. What, you give us 900 years? And he's like, no, I told them 90 days. And they're like, what the fuck? So that was really cool. Then I finally got to finish my Friday the 13th movies. so I went to the video store, and there's one that exists. And I wouldn't call it a DVD store. I'm still going to call it a video store. They have all DVDs.
Yeah.
But I saw Jason Goes to Hell, and that was really good. I was surprised at how good it was. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah,
from '94.
It's my namesake, so I've seen it.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
I love that it just starts off with just like titties running through the forest.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm hooked.
Well, and then like he goes to run up there, he's chasing her, and then obviously she's doing these flips, and you're going, what the fuck? And then they're like, all the cops are there to catch him. And then they're like, oh, way to go, Agent so-and-so. And I'm like, really? Like, she's barely clothed, and you're just like, hey, Agent. And so that was cool. Then I saw, because in the order that it went, which is so weird that they wait 9 years to do Freddy vs. Jason, because Jason Goes to Hell ends with, he didn't even go to hell till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But ends with the claw coming out and pulling his mask in. But then the next one was Jason X. Now, it's horrible, but I liked it for what it was. Like,
I agree. I like it.
It was
like,
pretty cool.
Usually when a franchise goes to space, they've jumped the shark and it's too far.
Yeah.
But it was a cool take on it, you know?
Yeah.
And it knew that it was silly because there's a lot of comedic moments in it.
Yeah. Well, and that cool kill of getting her face, her face explodes because it's all frozen. And just, I don't know, it's just, like I said, it's horrible, but it's great at the same time. It's just, so I rented those. And then on Hulu, they had Freddy vs. Jason from 2003. So what I find weird is 9 years... Like, they didn't do Freddy vs. Jason.
Right.
They wait until 2003. And that one was really good. I really liked the way they tied those together. Like, I got to bring Jason to Springwood to have him, get all the kids, and then they'll,
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
It was very cool, and I wish they would have continued it, and we would have got like other crossovers.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
they didn't do that. So
yeah, it's like, well, I was thinking that too. Like, you could do crossovers of like all that. Like, did you see that Leslie Vernon? It's like a horror movie. I'm sorry, I can't think of the full name, but it's basically in a world where Freddy exists, Jason exists.
Right, that's the one Joe was talking about the other day. I wrote that down because I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's on
Amazon like The
Prime.
Mask of something.
The Mask of Leslie Vernon,
yeah,
I think. Yeah,
okay.
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
Because it's like meta, it's like, inside. Anyway. But they're like in front of Freddy's house going, oh yeah, Freddy Krueger attacked some people, and then they're like over in Haddonville going, oh yeah, some people were here. And you're like, oh my God. Surviving Christmas, because on your Talking Poop episode you did it, and I was like, I think I watched this movie when it came out in 2004 with Ben Affleck and who's it? Gandolfini,
James Gandolfini,
and Christine Applegate and Catherine O'Hara, and so I was like, so we rented it at the video store, and I'm like, honey, you'll like this, and we watched it. She was like, yeah, I like that. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's way underrated, especially for a Christmas movie.
And it's fun, and it was just, I could see, like, a story about that. I think I told you, I talked about it on my podcast. I went to my old house one time, and I'm at my grandma's, who lived right next door. So I go to my grandma's house, and this is like, none of my family's living there anymore. So I'm like, okay. So I go over there, and I'm in the yard of my grandma's house, and nobody's living there at the time. And so I'm looking through the window. Oh, this window's broke. I'm going in the backyard. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all this stuff, And a lady comes out from the house that I grew up in, me and my mom and dad. And she's like, and she sees me walking around in my security outfit, and I have this big phone holder on my hip. She thinks it's a gun. And her friend who was in the house was like, oh, something's going on out there. Go check it out. So she comes out. She's like, hey, are you here to see this? What's going on? Anything important? I go, no. I said, my grandma used to live here. I said, and I used to live in this house. She goes, oh. She goes, hi, my name's Sandy. I go, oh, my God, my mom's name was Sandy. And my mom's passed now. Oh, my God, you're reincarnated. And I give her a hug. No. I said, I know this is going to sound weird. You don't know me. It's 6 a.m. Could I come and look inside the house? And she's like, yeah, sure. And I go, well, wait, is there people sleeping? Like, I don't want to bother. She goes, no, it's just me and my roommate, and she's awake. And I said, okay. So I go in there, and I'm just like, all these feelings are coming back, and I start like tearing up at like all the memories. And she was
so there's
like,
a strange security guard in their house at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're crying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds great.
I know. Well, she let me in. Hey, it's her fault.
Yeah, she let the serial killer into her house.
That's right. So I was like, okay. I said, but first I'm like, she showed me my bedroom, and I was like, oh, this is change and that change. Showed me my parents' room. What's weird about your parents' room, because now you're bigger. I was like, oh my God, like this is a master bedroom. Like this is where my parents. This is so small. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then the kitchen was like, all this stuff, just all these memories. And then she was like, oh, we're gonna have she goes, I just moved in like a month ago. She goes, I'm gonna have an open house or a housewarming party. She's like, what's your name and number? And I gave it to her, and she gave it to the police. So
smart.
But then she never called me. So
yeah,
I don't know. They never had it. But anyway, it was. She was like, yeah, I'm inviting. Like, she named all these people. I'm thinking that's 8 people. I remember that living room being so big. I walked in the front door. Boom, there's a couch. Like, I'm already in the living room. It's like, holy shit. But anyway, Surviving Christmas was good. Then I saw Legend from 1985 and Willow from 1988. Now on Disney Plus, Willow says 1987. And then when you look it up on IMDb or whatever, it says 1988. So anyway, that's as far as I got now. And on the thing that you heard before, my monologue, maybe I'll read off some other movies that I saw, because I definitely got to see The Irishman.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet either.
So I told my wife I need 3.5 hours just to sit and watch this movie.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. But then also I'm like, oh wait, I gotta watch Legend. Oh wait, you know what I watched? Fucking horrible. Nobody watch it. This is a thing on Disney Plus called Encore. Have you seen it with Kristen Bell?
Kristen Bell's on there, yeah.
And it's like people who go back to these things, and I'm like, why would I care about that? But last night, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not going to watch a Jeff Goldblum thing. I already watched Mandalorian. I'm like, I'll go ahead and watch this last episode of it, which is like Grease. So I watch it, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's a reality show. Kristen Bell's not even in it. She introduced it at the beginning. You hear her voice like, take a step back to 1990 in Grease production. And so all of a sudden I'm like, oh, so stupid. And then all of a sudden I'm getting emotionally like connected, like, oh my God, like this is so good. But it wasn't good. But it was one of those where all of a sudden you're just like, I can't explain it. Like all of a sudden I'm like, well, I got to watch a whole hour now. It's an hour fucking show. And I watch the whole thing. And then I'm kind of like, I wonder what happened to the lady with the cancer and da-da-da. But anyway. Don't bother with it, because I'm sitting there going, why am I wasting an hour of my time? But I kept watching it. I couldn't turn it off. I had to find out how it ends.
And the Jeff Goldblum show is really good. You should have watched that.
Because my wife, I wrote her, I said, honey, even though Jeff Goldblum's weird, you do enjoy watching that with me, right? We want to wait, because this new one is about what? Did ice cream, shoes, tattoos? Jeans. The new one's about denim. And so she was like, that's all she wrote me. I was like, okay, we'll watch it. But anyway, so now on to our show, unless you have anything that you watched that you want to talk about.
I did see Rambo Last Blood today with my dad.
Oh,
and
cool.
we went to the discount theater because it's out of all other theaters already.
Yeah. Well, when I went, it was playing at the big theater. It was a personal screening.
Really?
There was another theater, a bigger theater, playing it. And then I picked the theater that was smaller, that had nobody in it.
Right.
So I went there, and it was like my own private screening. It was
That's
pretty cool.
That's cool, yeah. We went to the discount theater. It was $3 to see the movie, and the theater was pretty full actually.
Wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
And I really enjoyed it because I wasn't like looking forward to it that much because I'd heard you say
right.
You were just like, it was alright.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was brutal as hell.
Yeah.
It had some surprises in it where I was surprised how brutal certain things were.
Yeah.
And then the end totally paid off. I mean, there were some cheesy things for sure.
Yeah.
Like I did laugh when he was like setting all his traps at the end because I was like, this is very Home Alone.
Yeah. A-Team, Home Alone, all the montages.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it was good. And then the way that they ended that was like, him on the rocking chair. Spoilers. I told you it'd be spoilers here. On the rocking chair, just sitting there, like, it's like, okay, cool. But, poor guy just wanted a sandwich in the beginning.
Yeah.
And everybody fucked with him.
Exactly. The thing that really made me laugh, though, too, was So they go at the end in the credits. They go through all the movies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you watch them.
Yeah.
Including the movie you just watched.
Oh, yeah.
You reenact
Yeah.
the entire movie you just watched in the post-credit scene.
I forgot
was
about
like,
that.
what the fuck
Yeah,
is
you're
this?
like, you just leave it up to, yeah. Oh, but here's the thing that I told you I'd get to about Legend and Willow. So
You should probably mention that we're doing Legend and Willow.
I did in the thing that you don't
in the
hear
thing
in
that
my
I didn't
monologue.
hear.
No,
Okay,
in my
all right.
monologue that'll be coming up. That's what's difficult when I do the monologue and everybody's like, "What have you been watching?" I'm like, you should listen before. After this, I'll record something."
Right.
So we're doing Legend and Willow, and I said, "Do you want to do a show? Like, what should we do?" Like, unlike you, I'm not saving up the shows. I just sometimes go, I want to do something, I don't know what, and I got to figure it out.
That's why they call you sometimes Phil.
And that's right. And I got to figure something out. So I was like, I want to do Willow because it's on Disney Plus. What goes with Willow? And then I asked you, and then you were like, let's do Leprechaun. And I was like, well, I've never seen Leprechaun. That might be fun. And then I was like, but then I got to buy Leprechaun. That sucks. Excuse me. So then you were like, what about Legend? And I was like, oh, because I was even thinking like Howard the Duck and Willow, like something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then you were like, what about Legend? And I was like, okay, Legend I think is available. And then Legend isn't available, and I had to go rent it. And but it's one of those where, and I have this sometimes with movies, that I'll pick movies, then I watch them and I go, oh my God, like Legend is good, but it's like, oof, you know.
I was watching it and I was like, is this good?
Right.
Because I'm like, is this artsy or is it just shitty?
Right.
Is it good or am I just nostalgic about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of feelings about it.
Yeah.
And also I was watching the director's cut
Yeah, that's what I
and
watched.
going, I don't remember this happening. And then there was stuff that was missing that I was like,
Yeah.
I remember something different happened here.
I noticed after, I was like, because I was waiting for it, and then I didn't realize after the movie was over, and then I'm like, wait, where's that part about without darkness, without light there can be, without darkness there's no light, I am darkness, all that whole speech.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, that was missing.
Yeah.
All he said, all the thing that was in that was in the other one was, what have we here, little boy? And that was it. And it's like, so, I don't know. It was good, and it was artsy, but I got all my thoughts. So, here's the thing also. When I do these movies, I make down all my notes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I make too much. Like, I'm doing little things to keep myself knowing what happened in the movie that I don't forget. And then, when I did Willow, I was just into Willow because I hadn't seen it since I was probably 16, maybe a little later. But when that came out, I went to the theater and saw it. And then all of a sudden, so my notes are like, you'll see they're less than on the other one. But anyway.
Well, the thing with Ridley Scott, who directed Legend, is he is a motherfucker when it comes to fucking with his movies.
Yeah.
And so, just like Blade Runner, I can pop it in, and I'm like, am I watching the good, cool version of this movie,
Yeah.
the right version, or is there some other fucking version I should be watching that's going to be better than this version?
Yeah.
Or make more sense than this version?
Right, yeah.
Because Legend doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
There's like a line of dialogue in the first 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing.
Well, that's where something like that, I was at the video store, and the guy's playing movies. And I go, oh, man, that's cool. He's playing a movie up on the screen. And it's fucking Star Wars. I'm like, awesome. So it's the Greedo Han scene. Mm-hmm. So I step out of the aisle to watch this scene. And it shoots. It kind of happens quick. So I'm like, maybe that was not the Han, maybe that was the Han shoots first scene. So then I finished watching that. I'm like, okay, that was cool because I love how Han picks on the wall behind him. He's like, I had to, everybody gets boarded. And then after that, I go back to the aisles to look at horror movies, and all I hear is, and I'm like, oh, it's fucking Jabba. They're doing that fucking Jabba thing where he steps on Jabba's tail.
So
I'm
bad.
Like, oh,
so
doesn't
bad.
even sound like Jabba. And I'm just like, oh. And that's the thing where it's like, on the original, when they first came out with those on DVD, they had the special editions and the regular. Mm-hmm. And now all they have is the special editions. And it's like, no, give me the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, first of all, what Legend is about, a young man must stop the Lord of Darkness from both destroying daylight and marrying the woman he loves.
Were they gonna get married? Because it seemed to me like he just wanted to fuck her.
That was in. I'll get to. Well, no, I didn't write it. I read it. Part of the facts was they wanted him to like. He loves her. He wants her to love him.
Right.
And he like forces himself on her.
Yeah.
And then the first cut that the studio did on the pass of the script was like, no, you got to pull this out. Like, no.
And I couldn't figure out, is it the way Tim Curry talks, or is it just in the script that he's super rapey?
I think it's just the way he talks, because when he talks to Macaulay Culkin on Home Alone 2, he sounds rapey. So right. I think it's just... No, I don't know. No, Tim Curry has this great staccato, like his way of talking.
Yeah. Like,
all I could think of when listening to that was like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like,
yeah.
You know, how you do I see you met my faithful handyman.
I got to give it to Tim Curry, though. I don't know how he gave a performance through that makeup.
Yeah.
And how those teeth didn't mess up his voice.
Yeah, well, and everything moved. Like, there was no, like, all the big stuff was probably up here, and and that's what they say about a lot of that with the, with Planet of the Apes, they had the things over their mouth.
Right.
So they were talking, but, like, with stuff that they can do where they can really manipulate their face, then it works a lot better. Mm-hmm. Tim Curry is fucking awesome.
But that devil makeup, too, is one of the best makeups I've ever seen.
I was thinking of this, too. They have the best villains. They have, like, a list of best villains. He's not even in best villains. Like, he's really fucking amazing. Like, him, like, Darth Vader, like, you know, what's that guy's name? Darth Vader and him, like, just their voices alone. Like, it's just great. It stars somebody named Tom Cruise as Jack.
That was super distracting through the whole movie.
His teeth.
Just
before they fixed his teeth.
Just his Tom Cruise-ness was like making me crazy. I was just like, that's Tom Cruise, and he's being Tom Cruise. And back in the day, I wasn't affected by that as much. He was just a guy. But now there's a million Tom Cruise performances that like jades that performance.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing where I'm watching it, and all I can think of is his teeth are all fucked up.
Right.
And it's like, and that was what I heard from Ben Affleck was. When they were doing Armageddon, they were like, hey, let's fix his teeth. We did that with somebody else. We're not going to say who, but let's fix your teeth. And who Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer were talking about was fucking Tom Cruise. Because they went and now his teeth are all straight. And
right.
That's, you know, I got the Need for Speed. And then you're like, oh, we got a poster. And then Mia Sara is Lily. And Tim Curry is Darkness. That's the only people I put in here.
Yeah. Mia Sara,
from Ferris Bueller.
And Time Cop.
Oh, was she? Oh, yeah, Time Cop. Yeah, oh, fuck. I got to do Time Cop with Always Phil. We talked about doing Time Cop and Time Crimes.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. And it was written by a guy named... This watch, it bothered me. William Jortsberg. Like he's Danish or something.
Jewish for sure.
Jortsberg. Well, no, Hjortsberg. But yeah, Jewish, Danish, whatever. And directed by Ridley Scott. So, here's my thing. If you were talking about different versions.
Yeah.
We both watched the director's cut, and there are several different versions. There's an original 94-minute European release, 89-minute theatrical release in America, 94-minute release on network television, and an eventual director's cut that ended with a 113-minute runtime. The American version was ultimately the most edited down. Network TV incorporated an opening title crawl narration and some scenes from the European version. Besides the director's cut, which didn't come out until 2002, European cut got the most authentic version. So that's like you said, like Blade Runner. It's like the narration might have been cool, like to explain a little bit, but and then something else that this went through, because then I'll get back to that when I get down to this. Electronic band Tangerine Dream was brought in to help the movie be more youth-friendly. Original composer Jerry Goldsmith was then left in the dust, along with his original score. However, the European cut of the movie came with the original score attached, allowing the movie to play out similarly to its original test version. It's not quite the same, but at least something closer to what Ridley Scott originally envisioned. It's up to audiences to determine which score is better suited, but at least Goldsmith's hard work was still able to be appreciated. So,
and the only part I missed was like at the end when he jumps off the waterfall to get the ring. Mm-hmm. I was like, there was a fucking cool ass song right here, and it's gone.
See, I forgot. See, I'd only seen this movie maybe 3 times. Mm-hmm. And so this time, it was more of a chore to watch it, where I was like, I know we chose this, but then I'm like, do I really want to? I'm like, it's kind of boring. It's not one that I would own, that I would watch over and over again. There's a reason why I watch it 3 times. But Tim Curry's like part alone is like, I'll just watch that all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to go back and look on YouTube for what song plays.
I watched it with my wife, who'd never seen it before, so like I had that going for me.
And was she like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, so she got herself in the right frame of mind, if you catch my drift, before watching the film.
Yeah. No, yeah. So she's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, she was like, is it just me, or is this the best movie that's ever been made? And I was like, no, it's just you for sure.
You're like, what unicorns? And she's like, oh my God.
But I was watching it, and so all the sets burned down apparently.
I heard that,
and it does. So there are parts where it definitely looks like they like moved some trees around, and then the people came through the same area.
Yeah.
But I do like the look of the movie. It does, because it was filmed on a sound stage. It does have a very kind of weird claustrophobic feel to it.
Yeah.
This sense of dread. I bet the actors were like scraping glitter off themselves for years afterwards.
I did write that I do like she has the perfect amount of glitter on her face on the one shot, like the first shot of her, a couple shots.
Right.
I was like, that's a perfect amount. Like, it's not too much, not too little. So I wrote that down, and then after that, everybody had glitter. The fucking fairy, the goblin,
Tom Cruise had glitter even.
Forrest Gump had the glitter on him, like all that stuff.
What was with the weird little gnome guy that talked like a man? That thing freaked me out.
The one that was... the old man? Like, the old man that was on their side?
Jack, we gotta do this. It was just like a little boy with no shirt on.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was... I'll get to that later, but he was dubbed, because everybody's like, there's something off about that. And he was dubbed by somebody else because he had this German accent.
Oh, really?
And they were worried that audiences wouldn't be able to hear it or understand
it's awful.
it. So yeah, it's just like so weird. Yeah, you're like, are you? But did you hear my thing about Children of the Corn? At the end of Children of the Corn, you have that guy that's like the leader of them before he gets killed.
Yeah,
and he's like, you're like, this kid, like he looks weird, and it's because he has a certain disease. He's like 26 when Children of the Corn comes out. He looks like he's 12. He looks the age of Gump. He's like, Gump is the name of that. Goblin guy. But here's what I got: a princess with no castle. Like, she doesn't have a castle.
Or parents that are looking for her.
Yeah,
she's just hanging around with this dude in the forest.
And then those old people, whoever they are, like, hey, I just like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
It is weird.
And I put here, Jack is homeless. This young guy in the role, I wonder what happened to him. I was hoping something good happened to him. He has a presence about him.
We'll have to look at his IMDb.
That's like recently we're watching, me and the wife, on the Roku channel. There's a Roku channel when you get Roku. And they have Growing Pains, like all the seasons, Growing Pains and all the seasons of Who's the Boss. And so my wife and I are watching that, and we're on the last season, season 7, and that's when Leo comes in on like episode 2. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, is this the last season? And my wife's like, yeah. And I go, but there's something, for one, it's weird to watch him and go, that's the guy from Wolf of Wall Street.
Right.
But also just go, he's fucking blowing everybody else out of the water. He's just a natural, like, actor or something, Speaking of, there's a Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas. Have you heard of that movie?
No.
I watched a trailer for it this morning. It's horrible. It's somebody's going, all this stuff, like, I don't get it. Like, none of this was in the Bible. Jesus wasn't born in December. Like, what's going on? And they're in a car, and Kirk Cameron's like, no, everything. All of this is in the Bible. All of this is, and it's like, oh my God, really? I don't want that. But it's like a movie, but it's pushing their agenda.
Right.
It's like, ugh. Because I thought it was going to be like going against the Religulous movie. Like, I thought it'd be something like that, but it wasn't. Some small thing, I said the glitter on her face. Jack takes her to see this beautiful area, And then the unicorns appear. It's really beautiful. And that's when I'm sure your wife was like, that's the best movie ever. But then this spoiled bitch wants to get closer.
Seriously.
And it's like, and he's like, no, don't.
Yeah.
And she's like, whatever. And then the goblin hits a unicorn with the dart. She still doesn't understand what she did. But those henchmen were there anyway. This is where it makes no sense. Like,
right.
It wasn't that they followed them to find the unicorns. They just happened to both converge in this meadow, and they just killed the unicorn.
Right.
So it was kind of like, oh, it's just so weird. It was beautiful. The movie looked beautiful, like you said, but it was just it's those things of like, what does this mean? Like, if my dad watched it, I know he'd be lost after the first. Him and I went and saw Ford vs. Ferrari, like I said. After the movie, I go, man, that was really good. And we're talking about it in the parking lot, and he's like, I'll tell you what. He said, I heard about a third of the movie. I'm like, the fuck? Well, wear your hearing aids. He's like, I don't want to wear those. I go, when we went in, I said, do you want to get one of those hearing things that you can listen? It's like for blind people that will tell you what's going on.
Right.
Or you can get a closed caption thing that goes in your cup holder. You can read that. I don't know how that works. You got to watch a movie, look down, watch a movie. So he's like, no. So I go, maybe we should do that next time because you missed it. Well, they were mumbling. They were talking low. Where are your fucking hearing aids? But anyway.
I got a story about going to the movie with your dad like that, where we went and saw Inglourious Bastards. And my dad was like, I was like, how'd you like it? That was great, right? And he's like, there's too much reading in it. He's like, I just stopped reading it about halfway through. And I'm like, so you just like missed half the movie? He's like, I didn't give a fuck after I had the...
Yeah.
I didn't... If I want to read, I'll read a book. I don't go to the movies. I'm like, Dad, you never read a book in your life.
My dad had... I don't know if I told this on the podcast. I'm talking to him the other day, and he says... he goes... He was in Colorado. And I'm like... Some reason we started talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I'm like, did you see it? And he goes, oh, yeah, it was really good. And he goes, but let me ask you, like, at the end, I go, I thought it was, I said, I got choked up at the end when she gets on the little microphone, and she goes, hey, what's going on? And J.C. Bring tells her, and then he's like, I'm here with Rick Dalton. And she's like, yippee, like, come on up for drinks. And I said, and just so, like, she didn't die, and it's, positive ending.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And I said, it's a positive ending. And he's like, no. He goes, what you didn't notice, did you notice the guy that comes up to the gate is Charles Manson? And I go, no, Dad, that's J.C. Bring. Like, he was a guy that died. He was her ex-boyfriend who died in the house with her, trying to protect her and the baby. Yeah. He died first, and then she died.
Right.
And he was like, no. He looked like Charles Manson. I would bet you know how I've been right sometimes on movies, and you've been wrong. I'm telling you that I'm right on this one. I said, Dad, and he's getting heated. He's getting like,
right.
And I go, Dad, look, I'm telling you. I said, you don't know the story, but I said, J.C. Bring came down and said, we're your neighbors, blah, blah, blah. I said, it's him because he's Emil Hirsch, who earlier did not have the goatee. I said, that's probably why you thought now he has a goatee. He looks like Manson. I said, when they caught Manson didn't have the beard. He was clean shaven. And I say, you grew the beard later. And my dad's like, no, I swear. Because he goes, I got something else out of it. He said, I got like, they're going up to the house now. And that guy when they're all in the circle talking,
right.
That guy is going to fucking go crazy and kill everybody. I said, Manson was never there.
Yeah, he wasn't even at the Sharon
He goes, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to kill them now. I go, no, Dad. He goes, I bet I'm right. I said, when I buy it on Blu-ray, I'll call you over. We'll watch it. I'll show you. And I even sent him pictures of here's J.C. Bring, here's Emil Hirsch. Here, I go, the guy from Into the Wild? He goes, yeah. I go, that was the guy there. He goes, I don't fucking know. All I know is that was Manson. Whatever, Dad. You're totally wrong. Anyway, so she says she'll marry whoever finds her ring. Back to our show. Right. And I like that ring, how it's like half and half. It's pretty cool. I didn't like the brown on the side of it. But anyway. And then he dives in to go get it. And then darkness comes, and she still doesn't know what she fucking did.
Right.
And then she's running, and they're at her friend's house, and now she realizes what evil is when they're all talking about, like, we're going to kill the other one, and da-da-da, and how the one has the unicorn, the horn. And a little fairy wakes Jack up when he meets Gump. It's that little fairy, and I was like, "Oh, is this like?" And then that guy showed up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember this guy, that guy Gump."
Right.
which I told you about.
The whole fairy thing and the way Jack looks is very like Tink and Peter Pan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, even I think at one point he stands like that, maybe, but maybe it's just me. But yeah, it's like you're a homeless guy, just like Peter Pan is. Like, and my thing is who. Like, let's switch roles, okay? You and I, you're a king, I'm a prince, we're both princes, whatever. We go see some homeless girl,
right,
on the street with her sign up, like, we'll work for food. Are we going to be like, oh my God, like mesmerized by her? Like, you are so beautiful. Like, here's my ring. Go after my ring.
Right.
And throw it in the street. She gets hit by a car. You know, it's like, who looks at this homeless guy and goes, oh yeah, okay, I'm with you. Yeah, right. You know. But that's another thing they didn't explain. Like, she's looking for him and he just appears, and they said that there was more to, like, explaining how she leaves, but they cut all that out of the script and then tried to make it, they wanted to make it more Disney-fied. So they said, let's do like Disney would and make it like family friendly.
Right.
And that's where, because it would have been darker with him trying to rape her and all that other stuff. Jack answers a riddle and lives. There's a sweet moment when they find the dead unicorn, and then Jack asks the other unicorn to forgive him, and the unicorn steps back a bit. I don't know if that was meant to be an emotional thing, but I was like, oh, the unicorn took it as, oh, it was your fault, you fuckface. So I was like, that's
the
awesome.
unicorn did say that, I think, in the European version.
I think, yeah, it said that. It played some cool music. Said, fuck the police. Jack gets his weapons. Lily's watching the Goblins. Lily comes to warn the protector of the last living unicorn, and he's like, ting, ting, with his, he's like playing tennis with the pan. And the Goblins attack the protector and try to kill the unicorn, and then they capture the unicorn and the princess. So that was cool, where all of a sudden, like, into the camera comes, you know, the net, and it's going after him. So that was cool. And then the witch in the swamp was cool.
That was that's the coolest part of the movie for me.
I like how the sword, like, he pulls the sword out and it's too heavy and it falls in the water.
Yeah.
And then he, like, decapitates her. But it was so cool because you're just like, holy shit. Like, he's like, look at your picture. Look at how beautiful you are. And she's like looking at herself and keeps looking at him while he's going for the sword.
I wanted just really I want a movie about her, like a whole prequel just about what her deal was.
Yeah. It was so cool. And Jack and his crew get caught in a booby trap, a la Goonies, and fall into a cell as they slide down that thing.
Did you notice that even after Jack gets the golden armor, he still doesn't have pants?
I know, it's like a dress, like a flapper dress from the 20s.
Yeah, it really is.
It, like, stops.
And when he slid down that, I was like, he just left ball skin all the way up that slide.
He's got rocks in his ass. And then Gump's magic doesn't work on the lock when he he gets shocked or whatever it is. And then the whole thing with the fairy, like the fairy will go and get the key, and he's like, she can go, and they're like, he gave up her secret.
That's such a weird thing too, because the fairy like turns big on him, just like Julia Roberts did.
Yeah.
But the fairy in this is like, I want to fuck you, Jack.
Yeah.
I want you to fuck me, and don't tell anybody about it.
I think that's what Julia Roberts was kind of saying in the undertones.
But that was more of a Disney version.
Right.
In this, there's like much more. There's just everybody wants to fuck in this thing. It's so horny.
She even changes her face to look like Lily, changes her body.
Right.
And then she's like, and then he goes, I can't. And then she gets pissed.
Right.
And then they think, great, you fucked it up. And then she goes and gets a key and comes back and lets them all out and then closes the door on him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and then you're like, and then finally he comes out. And that happened in Willow, where it's like a little finesse, like when Mad Mardigan's like saying something at Willow, like he comes out and he's like, everybody's going to die, whatever he's, oh no, I'm sorry, that wasn't that. I thought it was Willow. It might have been part on Willow, but it was on the Mandalorian, where it's like, it takes a little finesse on the newest one, episode 4. But
haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
So.
But it's like, the girl's like, you can't just tell him, like, you're going to die. So, but anyway, it was that where he should have been like, okay, and like kissed her just to appease her maybe. And then
he should have full on fucked her. She turned into his girlfriend.
Yeah.
If your wife has a sister that is her twin, and you accidentally fuck her because you thought it was your wife, that's one of the rules where you weren't cheating.
Oh, well, tell my wife that rule, because I got in trouble for fucking her twin sister. No. And then But it's cool that he won't kiss her. But that's what else is silly.
Right, that shows that he's like a good dude.
Yeah, like I love Lily. I don't love you replication of Lily.
Right.
They have a time limit to save the princess and the unicorn, which is he looks at that ball and goes, "We only have so much time," and 3 bubbles come up. Then later when he looks, he flips it over and 3 bubbles come up, and he's like, "Time is running out." And it's like, really?
Yeah.
And then the fairy is following the princess, which I didn't get that because before the princess is with the unicorn, they're stuck on that thing by the fire, a la Temple of Doom, and probably the same stage, Temple of Doom stage. And then all of a sudden now she's running through this, like, I don't know if they're big chess pieces, I don't know what they are, but she's looking for something, and it's just weird. And then she sees that silver and gold things, and she's like, "Oh, look, I'm shallow. Look how pretty these things are."
Right.
And then they want to make her one of them. And the dancing transformation, I liked how they did that, where she was dancing with that black like princess, and then all of a sudden it just turned to her dancing by herself, and you were like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That was awesome. And then he wants her to sit in that chair that is kind of a dude.
Yeah.
Did you see? I don't remember that from the original version.
It was
the
like
chair having green
like,
eyes.
Oh yeah, that's where it was. I was wondering where. I thought the green eyes were on the wall, but the chair was
the
green
chair.
Eyes? Yeah.
And he keeps wanting her to sit in it, and she almost does, and it kind of like moves like it's getting a boner.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of really horny stuff in this movie.
Yeah. It's like they say about the aliens, about who's that guy? The guy that designed
H.R. Geiger.
H.R. Geiger.
There's
it's almost
dicks,
like that, like
just
sexual,
dicks and dicks and dicks in his art.
But then before that, Tim Curry shows up, and that is the fucking best. Like we said, like him coming through, and his voice and his look is like, oh, so awesome. And then they're getting all the shiny things to put together, and she's like, "No, I won't sit." And then they're grabbing the platters, and they defeat those big guys. Like
the piggy guys.
Which just look like they came from Return of the Jedi. Like they're
Oh yeah, they do look like those dudes, the green ones.
And the same ones on Willow, they had the same when they start turning into pigs. They look kind of the same way. And he says we have to get all the shiny things to bring light to darkness. And that's when they start putting everything together. While grabbing the shiny platter, I said that darkness wants her to sit, and she won't. Then she says, and this is where if you're a villain, you're not going to go. When she goes, "Okay, I'll sit here and I'll stay with you forever if you let me kill the unicorn." And he goes, "Oh, that's beautiful. I love it." And it's like, aren't you going to go, wait a minute, is there something up with that? And they are set on both sides for the sacrifice and to save her and to save them. And then the conclusion begins, and that part of what have we here, little boy? Like, that's so cool. And then the great final fight, and everyone is saved. And that was the end of my notes. But my thing for that is like, what was funny was that door closes. Like, I'm like, they're all set, and then that door closes, and now you're like, well, now the light won't get through, so now you guys are screwed.
Right.
But I liked how I did like where it's still. Even though as a moviegoer, like, she's not going to kill the unicorn, but I do like how he's like, "I trust you." Mm-hmm. And then she cuts the chain, and then the unicorn again, she's like, "Run!" And if I was him, I'd be like, kill, done. But anyway, so it was good to watch again, but will I watch it again?
Right.
I don't think so.
Probably not. Here's another weird thing, is that this movie was full of things that I was like, this is from this is from that, like so many like things. Mm-hmm. But when they blow darkness out of the airlock at the end, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, he's even holding on to the... Yeah, exactly.
I was
didn't even think of that.
This is directly from another Ridley Scott film.
Yeah, exactly. He just missing him with the harpoon gun, like waiting.
Yeah, I expected her to like come out and be like, "Let him go, you bitch!
Get away from her, you bitch!" But at one point, like, I was collecting all Ridley Scott. Like, sometimes I go, I want all the director's stuff. Like, years ago, I was like, I want to collect all Robert De Niro movies. And I told my cousin, I was like, this is going to be great. And then all of a sudden you start going, am I going to watch This Boy's Life? Am I really going to watch this and that? And then you go, no. And then I got rid of that idea. But then with Ridley Scott, I go, Okay, I own, like, remember that movie, what's another name for a lawyer? The Counselor? Remember The Counselor that he did? It had Brad Pitt in it, and had the guy who played David in Prometheus. The guy with the big dick. What's his name? But anyway, it was
Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender. See, you know, I'm like big dick. You're like Michael Fassbender.
Oh, I keep track of all the big dicks in Hollywood, but I can't remember your movie.
Anyway, he was a lawyer, and he got into some bad stuff, and it had Javier Bardem in it and stuff. But anyway, that's where I go, okay, I own Alien. Mm-hmm. I own Blade Runner. You know, all 5 fucking different versions. Which is one big box set, which is good. I don't have to go. Then I have others, but I even have Matchstick Men.
That was a good movie. Yeah. I like that movie.
And but then you sit there and you go, do I want to buy? If I'm making this collection, I might buy it, but right. I don't think so.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like The Duelist. Like he did The Duelist before Alien. And
right.
It's like, I'm not going to buy The Duelist. I like Harvey Keitel, but I'm not going to buy this movie because I heard it's boring. But anyway. Wow, we've been talking a long time. I guess we'll get to Willow. A reluctant dwarf must play a critical role in protecting a special baby from an evil queen. Stars Val Kilmer's Mad Mardigan. All one word. I thought it was Mad Space Mardigan. All one word. Mad Mardigan. Huh? Joanne Whaley as Sorsha. Warwick Davis as Willow Ufgood. Jean Marsh as Queen Bavmarda. And her name sounds familiar, but I didn't look up what else she was in.
She was in Return to Oz.
Was that
she
same
was
girl?
Ozma. Or not Ozma. She was the lady. She was the nurse at first, and then she was the lady that changed her heads.
Oh, okay. I was thinking. Okay, well, my bad. I was thinking that was somebody else famous, but you're right. I'll take it that you're right. Story by George Lucas, screenplay by Bob Dahlman, and directed by Ron Howard. So it was originally, this is where that thing came in, it was originally called Munchkins, and 5 years after he mentioned the idea, Lucas was ready to make his film with Ron Howard directing and a then 17-year-old Warwick Davis as the lead. The original title was presumably inspired by the characters from L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and the subsequent Victor Fleming film. And here's what I noticed in this movie, which is kind of cool. So Billy Barty is in both films. Mm-hmm. The black guy from Bad Santa is in Willow.
I think he was an African-American man.
He's not black? He looks black to me. I think if I said colored, that
also,
would
you
be
described
where what
Willow
color
as
is
being
he?
a dwarf, and I think a little person is
Did
the
I
proper...
say dwarf? Where did I say that?
When you're reading the description of Willow, you said that a little dwarf saves a child.
Let me look.
It's a little person.
Oh, yeah, a reluctant dwarf.
A reluctant, yeah, that you can't say that.
IMDb, disclaimer, they said it. I did not. But okay, yes, a little person, whatever you want to call him. And he has a special disease that others don't have. And he has 4 children, and 2 of them died because of these complications. And he said when you get older, like their joints start hurting and all this stuff, like when he's young. And he said his hips are like out of place. It's like weird. Sucks. So the African-American from Bad Santa is in it. Kenny Baker is in it. He was like on the side when they were walking by. Kenny Baker was there. He's R2-D2.
R2-D2, yeah.
And then Billy Barty's like, you need to have faith in yourself, because he's like, what finger would you have chose? And he's like, I want to choose mine. And he's like, yeah, you should have.
That was a great little thing. I like that.
And Mad Mardigan is so cool. And Val Kilmer famously played the role of the reluctant hero, but he was not the only big name to audition for the role. Davis revealed in a commentary track that he once read with John Cusack, who in 1987 had already starred in 16 Candles, Stand By Me, and Hot Pursuit. And when the brownie, I forgot how funny the brownies are. The brownies,
so good.
When they steal the baby, when he's flying by with the baby, and he's like, I stole the baby! And that's Kevin Pollak, the one on the little one. And cool carriage chase. And did you notice when it flips over, they have that Wilhelm scream going on?
I heard the Wilhelm scream a couple times.
Yeah. And Mad Mardigan gets turned into a big rolling snowball when he's rolling down the hill.
One of the things that is so weird, and I don't know if it's a continuity error or what, but when they first meet Mad Mardigan and he's in the cage, his teeth are all brown and shitty. And then in the next scene, they're white as fuck. Like, they're perfect.
Huh.
But in that first scene...
Probably one of those, like, this is our hero. Now that he's out of the cage, we need to make him a hero.
Right. Yeah, it was weird. But it's odd, too, that we meet our hero and he's, like... and then the very next scene, he like takes off with the baby, and then when we see him again, he does an entire chase sequence in a dress, a pink dress.
Yeah, he's wearing that dress, and then the guy comes in, and he's like, what do you hear? Oh, it's just my female friend, and blah blah blah, right. And it's like, okay, and then all of a sudden he realizes like they're both there, and they start chasing, and but that chase scene is really cool. But yeah, it's just funny, like. That's why you like him, because he's like this weird. He's almost like, I was just watching this morning. I was going through like the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus, and I was thinking of watching movies, but I clicked on the Force Awakens, and they have extra stuff, and it's a deleted scene where they're getting ready to go into that thing where they got to power it down so then all the X-wings can blow it up, and Han Solo and Chewie and Finn are there. And all of a sudden, here comes these, like, 4 stormtroopers or 5 stormtroopers come down the stairs. And they're like, what are you doing? And Han's like, hang on, let me deal with this. He's like, they're like, give us your guns. He's like, he goes, no, I don't. What do you mean? Like, do you have a whatever it is? And Chewie's like, no. And he goes, no, your guns. Like, give them over. And he's like, oh, okay. And Finn he's like, give me your gun. Puts that one down. Chewie puts his down, and Han's standing there, and he goes, what about your blaster? And he's like, oh, it doesn't work. And it's like, but it's those things of like Han Solo always trying to like outwit them, and like he did on when they were on the ship, when both guys showed up, and he's trying to talk his way out of it because that's how he lives.
Right.
So it was cool with Mad Mardigan doing that.
Yeah, I thought that he was a very Han Solo character. Yeah. And it surprises me that they didn't go on with more stuff with him. Like, yeah. I guess they did. There is a novel series that takes it further, but I'm like, what a waste to not have such a great character go on and have other adventures.
Well, and I remember watching that, and you're just like I said, I was 16 at the time, and I'm like, or 17. I was like, I want to be that guy. Like, that's cool. Like,
I wanted to grow my hair out that long and have like a cool braid and shit. Yeah. Well, and then I realized like Val Kilmer didn't have that hair either.
Well, and I think I've told you whenever I try to grow my hair out, like Desperado, like I'm like, I wonder if I look cool. Like, no, I look like Kid Rock with long hair. I don't look like fucking Desperado. So I'm like, forget it. And then, not to jump to the end, but that's how then I got invested into the movie. And then the evil queen, when they're all there waiting, and she's like, you're all pigs. And she turns them all into pigs, and they're like, great. Willow, you got to protect. And he's like, I can't do anything. And then he finally transforms her. And they said that was the first like CG like transformation that had ever been done. Yeah, morphing.
It did look very cool.
And
it's funny because like Mad Mardigan's like, "What do you look like when you're human?" And she's like, "I'm a beautiful woman."
Yeah. And he's like, "Hurry up,
wrinkled up old lady."
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. And then I like when so at first, because I had forgot the movie, so at first when he gave him the acorns, I'm thinking this is Billy Barty just fucking with him like he was with the bird, like follow the bird.
Right.
It went that way. Okay, just follow the river. And I thought when he gave him the acorns, that's just him, like he's got to believe in himself. He's going to throw it, and nothing will happen.
Right.
But then when he's on the bridge and he drops it, and it turns that one piece into stone, piece of wood, and then you're like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then what I really liked was at the end when he threw it at the witch and she catches it, and then her hand starts to turn to stone, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. But then she stops it, and then just looks at it, and then her hand turns back to normal, and she just crumbles it, and you're like, oh my god, that was so cool. And what was funny is he gives him 3 acorns, but he only uses 2. And so they said there's a missing scene concerning the magic acorns. Hardcore fans of the film have noticed that there is a continuity error that involves the magic acorns. Willow was given by the High Alduin. During an interview with the Empire podcast, Davis explained that in a scene near the end of the film, he throws a second acorn and is inexplicably out after having only used 2 of the 3 magic acorns he had been given earlier in the film. Included in the Blu-ray release is a cut scene in which Willow uses an acorn, his second, in a boat during a storm and accidentally turns a boat to stone. Davis says that his hair is wet in the next scene that did make it into the original version of the film, but the acorn is never referenced. So that would have been neat. Like, the boat turns to stone and just sinks. And then, like you said, the story was continued in several novels. Willow has yet to receive a sequel, but fans of the story can return to the world in a trilogy of books that author Chris Claremont wrote in collaboration with Lucas between 1995 and 2000. Chris Claremont from X-Men fame. According to the Amazon synopsis of Shadow Moon, the first book picks up 13 years after the events of the film, and baby Elora Donnan's friendless upbringing has turned her into a spoiled brat who seemingly takes joy in making miserable the lives around her. The fate of the great realms rests in her hands, and she couldn't care less. Only a stranger can lead her to her destiny. So
the book picks up and Matt Mardigan's already old?
That if even it says like somebody else, some stranger helps her. Huh. So what if it's not called Willow, then maybe it doesn't even have Willow in it, because then Willow would be, which he seemed like he was 25 or 30, but he's only like 17, like we said.
Yeah.
When he was in Return of the Jedi, he was only 11.
Really?
And then he was in those TV movies, the Ewok TV movies.
Right.
Do they have those on Disney Plus?
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our show. What do you got to say? So these movies, I liked Willow. It was still like I could see where before I really liked the Mad Mardigan character. Like I remember going, I wish he was in it more, and I wish there was more action.
Well, when he really shines is when he does get to do the action scene where he's defending the castle.
Yeah, when he puts on
that armor and he gets to actually like fight, and they show him setting traps and stuff. And well, my favorite thing in the whole world is when he gets into the catapult.
Yeah,
and he cuts the line and shoots himself up onto the bridge.
Well, and when I see that thing, because I was thinking about it to talk to you about, maybe one of us will do it on our show. But what I love in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, is when he grabs the 2 arrows and he takes the feathers and he rips off the thing, and then he shoots and that splits it.
Yep.
And you're just like, I don't know if that would really work, but that was just the way
cool.
it just looked badass. Same thing with when that guy's salivating on Christian Slater. He's getting ready to cut him and he shoots him first.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
But I love that scene when I used to play with my G.I. Joes. They always climbed into a catapult and launched themselves.
Yeah.
Because of that scene, and then he fights. The troll growls at him, and he yells back at it.
Oh yeah.
That's so good.
Well, and that was just cool where the troll is like coming down from above, and you're just like, look out, Willow! Like, I wanted to go, hey, look up. So
what surprised me is that I knew going into it that Legend was too much for my kids.
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't be interested anyway, but I was like, well, Willow I can watch with my kids in the house. Well, there's nothing wrong with Willow. Like, 1.5 minutes in, the lady is trying to steal the baby away, and those dogs are chasing her. Oh, and they take her out and start
she puts them on the,
eating her, and the baby goes off into the river. Yeah. And my kids were like, nope, I'm out.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then, going on through it, like, the trolls are really scary.
Yeah.
And even the dude that looks like Skeletor is like scary.
Yeah, that's a badass mask, though.
That is a badass mask.
You need to have Brian Gunn get one of those.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he probably already has one.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
and it's probably made out of a human face.
Yeah. He's like, this is some guy I brought over.
But he had a cool sword too, the one that like went on over his wrist and everything. You know?
Oh yeah.
He hang on to it, and that was a cool sword. And
well, and that was cool. What I didn't say, I remember also not only the catapult thing being cool. But because I used to play Dungeons and Dragons about this time, and also RoboCop was the same role-playing type thing. And it was that thing of him fighting the guy, and the sword's on the ground, and he steps on it.
Yeah, that's so good.
And then goes down and pulls the guy down on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that had never been done. Like, you never see like somebody improvising like that, like to do something. I mean, maybe John Wick does it, but you know what I mean? Like, oh, so cool.
It was cool, too, to see Eric the Red, his buddy. That was, like, not really his buddy. That was the drunk from Superman 3 who's trying to get with Lana.
Oh yeah,
it's like the same guy.
And
he was a drunk in that too.
I looked him up because I was thinking he was the guy from Die Hard 2, or the guy from Die Hard and Die Hard 2, the reporter. And then I'm like,
Walter Peck.
I'm like, is that William Etherton or whatever his name is? And then I'm like, no, that's this other guy who I know also, but he also looks like somebody anyway. But no, I have to go now and watch all the Supermans. But no, this was better than Legend.
Yes.
And it still holds up, I think, and is still a good fantasy movie and all that great stuff.
Well, and they had said that, like, they were worried with Willow with marketing it because Legend had already failed in the box office when Willow was coming out, and they were just like, I don't know if we can give these guys the money to do this because, like, Wizards and Warrior movies just don't make money.
Yeah. You know? Well, that's what I was noticing with watching Return to the Oz and all the, like, they all came out, like, 84, 83, 82, you know.
Yeah.
All these times that, like, all of a sudden it was like, let's make these kid things, and it was like, but with that, one of the reviewers for Willow was like, it's just like Star Wars, like, broke it down like a Star Wars, like, you have, you know, 3PO and R2 are like the brownies.
Yep.
And you got, you know, Val Kilmer's Han Solo, like, you know, all that stuff. But it was really neat. Yeah. I really liked it. But now I got to watch Leprechaun.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But so, something that I was thinking of ending my show, which we already did, I mean, that we're talking about, was out of the two, which do you like better? And it would be Willow, yeah?
Yeah, definitely Willow. It's a better film. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
I think it's just more enjoyable to watch overall. You know, Legend, while it's a good film and it has its merits, and if somebody hasn't seen it, I would say, it's worth watching.
Yeah.
If anything, for Tim Curry's performance.
Yeah.
But it's weird and it's artsy and it's not for everybody. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, see Legend because it's awesome. And I'm like, see Legend, like smoke a couple bowls and then go see Legend, and then you'll think it's the greatest movie you ever saw. So.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Very good. So I guess how I'm still trying to figure out.
You've got to figure out how to end these
My
things.
thing for ending, at one point I said I figured out how to end it. It's a line from the movie, and I couldn't. And then when I get to the end, I go, like, me and Matt were doing the show, and I go, what was the line that you said? And he couldn't remember, and I couldn't remember. But it was something from Legend. What was that? Without light, there can be. Without darkness, it can be on whatever.
It doesn't work if you can't remember the line.
What I do know that I wrote down is "You're all pigs." How about that? We can end with that.
You're all pigs. That's probably something you should say to your audience.
I know. What? I can't even think of a line from Willow. What's? Well, we could end on an inspirational thing of that thing. Have faith in yourself. You know, it's like a. It's almost like Bill and Ted's, like, be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, have a magic fucking acorn.
Yeah, oh my God, that would be so cool. I don't know who I'd use it on. But I was really hoping that when he used the acorn, it, like, wouldn't work because he had to have, like, he had to be stronger and be a hero.
They set it up because Billy Barty, when he's like, I have to consult the bones. And he throws the bones down and he whispers to Willow, he's like, the bones tell me nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had a magic acorn, I'd have a hole in my pocket and it'd fall out and hit my dick and turn my dick to stone.
Yeah, there you go.
But that might work good too, you know?
Like, although then you couldn't pee, you'd get just all backed up like that. You'd be like that dinosaur, like the two-headed dragon that was like its neck got full.
Didn't that thing look like a ball sack?
It looked like that, but it also looked like what they said when they were working on that. They called it the Eberiscal. Eberiscal.
Right,
it was Ebert and Siskel.
Yeah.
And so that was funny. But yeah, it looked like something from Star Wars, like. But
For
you
sure,
know that Image, like, all them are making.
But when he stabs through the mouth and then it tries to blow fire and it explodes, God damn, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So,
no, it was good. So everybody check that out. It's on Disney Plus, and with all that, we'll end our show now. So. Don't forget to go check out Popcorn Promises.
That's right. Go check us out at Popcorn Promises on. We've branched out now, so we're on like Pandora. We're on iHeartRadio.
Nice. See, I tried to get on iHeartRadio. I don't know. I sent a thing in. I don't know how it works.
They just send you. They like all you have to do is submit. Unless you say like horrible racist stuff, like you call like little people dwarves and things like that.
Oh, maybe. And I call black men.
You call the black dwarf
a
black guy
instead of American. Yeah. See, now you just call him a black dwarf.
No, I didn't.
Now
I'm
you're in
saying you are horrible and I am awesome.
Oh, okay.